Inventya are an innovation commercialization consultancy. We do commercial work, but we also do funded programs. And significantly, we're funded by Innovate UK under a program called Innovate UK Edge, which is all about giving commercial support to those innovative businesses that are trying to bring new innovations to market. And it's all focused on the commercialization aspect of that. So that might be, how do you find your right markets? How do you find your first customers? Is the technology ripe enough for taking it in? Is it disruptive enough? What's your competitive advantage? Where might you get funding? Who have you got working with you? And a multitude of issues, everything to do with the commercial realities of trying to get to market.
So basically, you guys are all about helping those who've got great ideas, turn them into commercial businesses.
Primarily, that's where our focus comes from. And it's literally anything that will actually smooth that path. So it might be funding. It might be trying to find people to collaborate with. It might be trying to determine whether you're going for the right market, how you build your market entry strategies. Quite wide ranging, and it's specific to the companies themselves. This is a program that is funded 100% by Innovate UK. Principally, it exists because Innovate recognise that innovation isn't just about giving money to great ideas. That actually you need to do something with that money. You need to make it actually happen. And it's getting that better sort of hit rate and better conversion rate in terms of commercializing that needs expertise, needs to be able to call on people that have been down that path before, know what some of the sort of stumbling points along the path are like, and can guide those entrepreneurs towards a more effective outcome. And that's really what our role is for Innovate UK.
Yeah, no, that's interesting, and squarely, I think in the wheelhouse for this program and those who are on it. Let's talk about some of those things that you mentioned you tend to help with, and why don't we start with business model and market? Because there's no good going for funding if you haven't got the right business model and at least some kind of idea what route you have to market. So what are the sorts of challenges that you see people coming to you who in that area?
Probably one of the most significant ones is people will come with a good idea, a good piece of technology or a good innovation, but they'll approach it from the technology sort of aspect rather than sort of turning it the other way around, saying, well, okay, this might be a great piece of technology, it might be something completely new, but why is somebody going to actually want to use this? What are they going to use it for? What's the market need? What is the customer requirement that I suddenly become the perfect solution for? So rather than believing you've got the best thing since sliced bread, it's focusing on, well, what do we need to actually slice? Why is people interested in slicing the bread in the first place? And why is it that your knife is better than any other knife at actually doing that? So it's turning things quite often 180 degrees opposite to the perspective that most technology-led businesses actually look at, and trying to look at it from the market need requirement. So what is the pull that's actually going to drive this forward? Because if you've got a great piece of technology, but you don't know what it's going to be used for, nobody's going to use it. If you can be specific about why it will be of use and how it will benefit the users, then that changes the whole sort of dynamic, changes the whole perspective, but also changes what it is that you need to focus on in terms of your messaging, how you actually access those markets, where you look for them, being able to recognize what an ideal customer will actually look like in the first place. You're never going to find a customer if you don't know what you're looking for.
Yeah, and I think that's a really great point, in terms of what does your ideal customer look like. Obviously, that's going to be different depending on whether you're got a B2B or B2C or those other services and products. How do you help your clients sort of articulate what they're looking for?
So we actually use a series of quite well-defined tools, whether it's things like business model canvas, or one of the ones that we really enjoy working on is value proposition canvas. So that really does get underneath the skin of, so what is it that you're doing? Why are you doing it? How are you doing it? who you're doing it for, and quite often you won't know what your size of market is if you haven't been able to define what people are going to use this for. If you have been able to define what you're going to use it for, then you're also able to define, well, how are they currently doing that particular job, and that then gives you insight as to what all the competitors are. Quite often people will believe that competitors are providers of equivalent technology. Well, no, they're not. Competitors are any other solution that might be able to address the problem that the customer's got. And sometimes that problem can be addressed by things that are not technology. And so whenever you're thinking about a competitive market entry, often it's a case of, so how is that job being done at the moment? What tools or what solutions are being used? Because it's those that we're going to have to compete against. And we quite often hear a classic sort of thing, well, we don't really have any competitors. What do you mean you don't have any competitors? Well, there's nobody else providing this technology. Yeah, but does that mean that the job is not being done at the moment? Well, yeah, the job is being done. Right, well, how's it being done? That's your competitors. And sometimes it's even to the extent that sort of said, well, the job's not being done at the moment because nobody believes there is a solution out there. Okay, in that case, your competitor is the inertia of the customer realizing that it's possible to do it at all. So your perspective about what you're trying to do as market entry can be quite different.